A major development last week, obviously, when President Obama placed a call to the new Iranian president, Hassan Rouhani, the first time the leaders of those two countries have spoken since 1979. Does it mark a thawing of the relationship between Iran and the United States and possible progress on persuading Iran that it should not pursue nuclear weapons? Of course, the Iranians have said they're not doing that. They only want nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. So where are we with all of this? Nobody better to ask than former U.S. Ambassador to Bahrain, Adam O'Reilly, joining us now from D.C. Ambassador, good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
So it was a historic phone call, no denying that. Is it a certain sign of progress, or is it, as a lot of critics of Iran would say, the Iranians playing for time?
It's a sign of progress, but limited progress. The reason it's progress is because, look, we've taken steps we haven't taken in over 30 years. First with Kerry meeting the foreign minister, Secretary Kerry meeting the foreign minister. Second with President Obama calling President Rouhani. So, I mean, it is a thaw. I wouldn't be overly enthusiastic about it or overly hyped. Because, as everybody has said, the devil is in the details. And we'll see if they're going to walk the walk on October 16th when discussions begin in Geneva on their nuclear program.
And now, one person who is extremely unhappy with it and doesn't think this is any more than a smokescreen by the Iranians is, of course, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He's at the White House meeting President Obama today. What do you think his message is going to be? No compromise whatsoever? Don't talk to these guys? They're just trying to pull the wool over your eyes?
I think his message is number one, don't be fooled. This is a very capable and aggressive regime that, you know, you can't change history or turn back the clock overnight. They have a long track record of troublemaking and aggression against the United States and its allies, including Israel. We shouldn't forget that. However, I think what President Obama is going to say is, if we can neutralize their nuclear program, that's going to serve everybody's interests. Benjamin Netanyahu, I think, like a lot of other people, have a healthy degree of skepticism. But on the other hand, you can't say it's not worth trying. I think the key thing here, and perhaps this is where the rubber's going to meet the road, the key thing here is how much time are you going to give it? Are you going to let them play this out for years? Or you can have a really quick timetable in terms of determining when progress is achieved and how quickly progress is achieved. My guess is Netanyahu is going to be arguing for a very quick timetable of verifiable measures that Iran agrees to, and if they don't agree to it, that is a clear signal of their intentions. Frankly, you know, the interesting thing is Rouhani himself has said they want to make progress quickly, as has Kerry. So everything is in the timing at this point, I think.
And talking in any way, shape or form is almost always better than not talking in these situations, Ambassador?
Some people would like to say that. I'm not so sure I agree. Why? Because the last time, I mean, it's interesting to look at Rouhani as a figure in Iranian modern history. Remember, in 2003 to 2005, when the EU3 launched a negotiation over Iran's nuclear program, Rouhani was the chief nuclear negotiator. And they used that negotiation as a cover to develop uranium enrichment facilities. So talk is not always good. I mean, sometimes it's a cover to produce or to advance your technology and your weapons producing capability. We've got to trust but verify.
And so while we trust but verify, what are the concrete first steps that you believe Iran could agree to immediately to give us that kind of trust on which we can move forward, Ambassador?
Well, I think a fact that's quite neglected in all the discussion about discussions with Iran is we've been talking to them at a very senior level for the last 5 or 6 years. Remember, the Undersecretary for Political Affairs of the State Department, the number 3 official, first Bill Burns and now Wendy Sherman, have been leading or participating in multilateral talks with Iran nuclear negotiators in the P5+1 forum. Now, for 5 years or 6 years, they've been putting questions to Iran that Iran has been unwilling to answer. Questions that would verify and answer doubts about whether their program has a military aspect to it. I would say the first thing that we should see and we should demand to see is answer the questions that you've been evading for the last 5 or 6 years. That, to me, would be a clear sign of good intentions or not good intentions.
So there's a lot more to this that we need to see rather than slightly friendly tweets sent by the new Iranian president.
Right. I mean, look, we've seen the style. Now it's on to the substance. You can't, talk your way through a verification deals on nuclear programs. It's just, there's no wiggle room there. We'll see whether they're really serious in the next 2 weeks.
All right. One of our viewers writing in here, Ambassador, says, how do we account for all of these weapons to make sure they aren't just trying to get out of the spotlight by giving up some portion of what they have or what they've done so far? I mean, it's the whole verification of each step is not simple by any means, is it? When they appear to have secret facilities buried deep underground, etc. The verification is a very difficult thing.
Yes, it is. And let's be clear, though. Just there was something in your viewer's question that made me pause. Remember, they don't have nuclear weapons yet. The whole purpose of this effort is to prevent them from using uranium or nuclear fuel to create nuclear weapons. We believe they're using a peaceful nuclear program for energy as a pretext to develop nuclear weapons. So they've got secret facilities. They've got facilities that are dispersed. They have activities they've declared and not declared. It's up to the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, to get in there and look at these places. But again, it all boils down to intent. What are Iran's intentions? Are their intentions to comply with UN Security Council resolutions and get sanctions lifted? Or is their intent to have it both ways? Look like they're complying, get the sanctions lifted, and develop a nuclear weapon. Like I said, there's a healthy degree of skepticism that it's not the former and the latter, that they're using this as a cover to get their weapons and to put off the international community and to relax the international isolation that they've been under for the past 10 or 15 years.
Yep, hard to think of a global situation right now in which the old adage, trust but verify, is more apt. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much indeed. Great to get your perspective.
Thank you.